If you're hiring for sales talent right now, you're probably at a point where you're asking yourself if you should bring in a sales recruiting team in house or with a sales recruiting firm. I'll be frank with you. The wrong choice here will impact your revenue, your runway, and potential new business. At the end of the day, it's going to either cost you the wrong people that you're going to get stuck with, or worse, no people at all. For those that don't know me, my name is Jayce Grayye, founder of Jayce Grayye Consulting and Recruiting. In the last 4.5 years, we placed over 1,000 sales representatives in high performance sales teams. And we've placed in industries like software, marketing, coaching, and any service based business out there. We help companies build hiring machines. And in this video, you're going to learn the hiring model that fits your current stage, why most founders underestimate the hidden costs of both, and what you can do this week to protect your next sales hire from flopping. Let's get something straight. Most founders base their recruitment strategy off of assumptions, not evidence. I'll give you some examples. The first one is, oh, we could do it cheaper in house. The second one is, we could find that person through referrals. And the third one is, well, recruiting teams are just clueless and desperate. They don't know what they're really doing. But the truth is, cheap upfront means more expensive long term. Referrals typically tend to dry up by the time you hire your third person. And top recruiting firms are used by high performance companies to outpace the market. See, I'll share with you a real example. We had a client of ours who came to us after 60 days of trying to fill in this role. The interesting thing is that they needed really three total candidates. The problem was is that they weren't getting anybody. If anything, they were spinning their heels, wasting time with bottom feeders, and honestly, everybody was ghosting them. So we worked with them, and by day 21, we found them three great solid candidates. After they got ramped up, after they were up to speed, we're looking at day 90. They added an additional 200,000 in total revenue per month because we were able to find those three people for them. See, here's the saying that assumption is going to cost you money and systems are going to make you money. Now, let me break down the real cost of each model. If you bring in an in-house team, let's start first with the recruiter salary. It could be anywhere from 80 to about 120. Now, if we're going to talk about systems, well, systems could range anywhere from like a 1,000 maybe 2,000 a month. And then if we're talking about the hiring manager is going to spend anywhere from about 10 to about potentially 20 hours every single week filtering out. So we could easily say that a bad hire would be a costly mistake here. Now, I'll give you an example of an agency partner like ourselves. Agency fees for us are anywhere from like 20 to about 30% of the annual salary. You're only going to pay when they get hired. You get pre-vetted, pre-screened, all the information directly delivered to you in a client portal for you to see all the information. And on top of that, we're going to be saving you about 10 to about 20 hours every single week, plus weekly pipeline reporting. And usually our time to fill in rate could be anywhere from about 7 to about 14 days. Now, sometimes it could stretch a little bit more to about, I would say, 21 days to 28 days, but most of the time it's between 7 to 14 days. And here's something no one's going to tell you: the real cost isn't the recruiter, it's the opportunity cost of not having that candidate in that seat. If every month that candidate could be driving an additional 30,000 a month in your business, that's 360,000 every single year for your business. That's how much money you're really missing out on not having that person. Now, by any means, we're not an in-house recruiting firm, but we do love to work with them. We've worked with them all the time. And I'm going to be going over with you when you should go ahead and bring this in-house. You should bring this in-house if you have a recruiting director or a talent leader, if you have a strong brand that people trust and like, if you have your process when it comes to recruiting dialed in and you know exactly what to look for, if you're going to be recruiting tremendously, we're talking about like 20, 30 more every single month, that's when you need to go ahead and bring this in house. However, you should still bring an external agency if you need help with a specialized roles, for example, or if there's a sudden burst of hiring, or just maybe their team is at capacity. So again, if you want to be able to attack and penetrate the market share of the candidate market, that's when you would go ahead and bring in external agency. Now, let's talk about firms like us and when you should bring in external firepower. The first one on that list is if you're trying to run fast and time is your bottleneck. The second one is if you're at a point where the founder or the CRO is potentially interviewing so many candidates and you're at a point where your bandwidth and capacity, you just don't have it. You shouldn't be spending a lot of your time on that. Third, if you want quality over quantity, let's be honest, When you're trying to find that top percent, we're talking about that less than 10% of reps that are out there. You need to spend a lot of time headhunting. You're not going to find those warm bodies that are just applying for their job ads. And number four, you've been burned before with a bad hire and you just want some insurance policy on it. Now, let me give you a real life example. We were working with one of our clients. They were penetrating a new vertical and they already have an internal recruiting team. The reality is that they were at capacity. They didn't have the bandwidth, so they brought us on. We went ahead and supplied them with four great candidates within 4 weeks. Next thing you know, the pipeline grew 82% that quarter. That's what partnering looks like. We're not just a vendor, we're a co-pilot. Let me break this down for you. At Jayce Great Consulting and Recruiting, we don't just fill roles, we build systems that help companies scale. Now, here are some of the mistakes I see founders make, and it's real, it's avoidable, and it's extremely painful. Hiring too late is the first one. That's when your team right now is drowning in pipeline. Number two is handing off that interviewing process to someone like a virtual assistant or an executive assistant. To be totally transparent, I see this happen all the time. The thing is that they don't necessarily know how to qualify a closer. So that's a mistake I would tell you to avoid. Number three, it's posting a job ad and praying that the top 10% apply for that job board. I'm telling you right now, that top percent will never apply there because they're already working somewhere else. Number four, underpricing the role. Just because you're a startup doesn't mean a top producer is interested in taking phantom equity or any sort of equity if they can't necessarily see themselves producing at your organization. And number five, not strategically interviewing candidates. If you don't have a scorecard, if you don't have a process in place to actually identify what an A player, B player, or C player looks like, you're guessing. And at this point, it's costing you six figures every single time. What's right for you? If you're scaling, hiring fast, want closers and not window shoppers. And if you care about long-term system as much as you care about short-term results, then let's talk. We'll run you through the exact playbook we use for our clients when it comes to finding that top 1% talent. And if you're sick and tired of doing this yourself, go ahead, click the link, fill out the form, and we'll see you on the other side.